So I don't spend a lot of time, not for the last year and a half anyway, criticizing Donald Trump. Before the election, sure. Here was a lifelong Democrat that was running as a Republican, and I had no faith he was actually going to do anything conservative. None whatsoever. And since he's been elected, I've been ridiculously, pleasantly surprised. I'm glad to say I was wrong. He's actually governed, and his policy has actually been very, very conservative, which I agree with. It's been conservative economically, it's been conservative in many ways. Hasn't been conservative socially, which I also agree with because I'm not necessarily socially conservative, I am more socially liberal. So I actually really liked the stuff he's doing. Yes, he tweets too much and says stupid and ridiculous things, and I wish he'd just stay in the White House and not conversate with anybody and they'd take his phone away. Things would be much better in the world, I think, if that happened. But by and large, I've been pleasantly surprised with the man. But something happened recently. He recently insinuated that he would consider doing something that I feel would actually legitimately border on treason. And not Rachel Maddow's, oh, Trump's a treasonous traitor kind of treason. I mean legitimate treason. Now, here's kind of the boring part of the video. And if you already know about the Magnitsky Act, by the way, I'm going to butcher that name several times throughout this video, just apologizing ahead of time. If you know anything about this, then you maybe skip forward a minute or two, but I'm going to explain this to people who don't understand what the Magnitsky Act actually is. Basically, back in 2012, the Republicans and the Democrats got together and said, Russia did this really bad thing, we need to punish them. So they passed this act, and Obama signed off on it, basically imposing a bunch of sanctions and a lot of other stuff, because what the Russians did, what Putin did, was basically take a man named Magnitsky, who was a tax official in Russia, who, with the help of an American named Bill Browder, they discovered that there were hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars being funneled basically directly to the Kremlin, to Putin, from the Russian taxpayers. And they were basically running Russia like a giant mob. Who would have thought, right? I mean, we've known this about Russia and Putin for a long, long time, but they basically discovered this and were going to publish this. And I believe they actually did, and they put this information out there. Now, Bill Browder managed to get out of the country in time. Magnitsky did not. He was actually put into a Russian prison and suspiciously died while being questioned about his actions. So of course we punished Russia in really the only way we could because of what they did. Well, recently in Helsinki, Putin said he would agree to a lot of Trump's demands, a lot of the things that Trump wanted to do, if Bill Browder and just a few of the other people who were involved in passing the Magnitsky Act would be sent to Russia for questioning by Putin's officials as to what they knew about Magnitsky's death. That sounds like a great idea, right? That's innocent enough. I mean, Putin just wants to question people about going against the Russian government and passing an act that ultimately punished Putin and Russia. There could be no ill will there. There's nothing nefarious about wanting that, right? Just send them over here and we'll question them. And sure, the people we question end up dead 100% of the time, but don't worry about it. Bill Browder will be fine. Some of the senators and congressmen that were responsible for this act, they'll be absolutely fine. Just go ahead and send us Bill Browder and some of your government officials so we can question them, and we promise everything will be A-OK, right? Well, here's the kicker. Trump actually said, it's not a bad idea. I think I'll think about it. He said that in Helsinki. And everybody went, what? Huh? And then a lot of us, myself included, just assumed he just said something, just whatever, as he usually does, and goes about his business, and then forgets about it, and then somebody eventually in the White House will say, dude, you know you can't do that. You can't just send our people and government officials and American citizens to a foreign hostile nation to be questioned where everybody always ends up dead. And we figure he'll just kind of write it off after that, right? And never mention it again, except then 3 days later he mentioned it again that he was in fact considering doing it. That's twice in about 4 days after his officials should have told him, dude, no, that's treason, we don't do that. He's still considering it. Now, what are the chances that Trump is just being Trump in this particular instance? I think it's about 80% that he's just Trumpizing a statement, as it were, right? He doesn't really mean it, he doesn't know what he's saying, he doesn't care, and it's never going to happen. That's 80%. But if there's even 20% or 10% or 5% of a chance that he is really considering sending American citizens to Russia to be questioned about something they did to hurt Russia and Putin, it's imperative upon us, American citizens, to call him out on this ridiculous, treasonous bullshit. Look, I hope he's just spouting off like he does on Twitter. And I really, really, really believe and want to believe that's what he's doing. But again, if there's even a chance that he's actually considering rounding up American citizens, even in the most classiest of ways, and sending them first class and all this other stuff, but sending them to be questioned by Putin and his officials, this absolutely, positively must be called out. And we must say, Donald Trump, this would in fact be treason.